I was in
There
high
you
school.
go. You started off with something like that. Big Zipper.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Andy Hall, John Hudson, Tobin Templeman, Big Zip. Good morning. Okay, Big Zero. Hope it's not. Yes, go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
So they send out this. There's a substitute teacher, and they send out this piece of paper. And instead of asking us to write down their names as a way of taking attendance,
Mm-hmm.
they show us a sort of map of desks, and you sign your name on the desk where you are seated, so to speak.
Oh,
And
all right.
it's just another way to do it. And so I picked a desk where no one was sitting, and I wrote in the name Connie Lingus.
Oh, come on. Come
Yes.
on. Really?
So the next day, this is a Catholic school, of course.
Of course.
So so the next day, I'm walking into class, and there's a guy in front of me, and the teacher pulls him aside and said, "Did you write this?" And and he says, "No." And I just walk past them and go to my seat, chuckling to
Nice.
myself. But
Very
I
nice.
think what happened is that somebody down at the office said, "Who's Connie Lingus?" and tried to find out why she wasn't on the class listing of official students and what was she doing in the
Right,
class.
right. Well, mission accomplished. Big Zip.
Yeah,
Yeah, mission
yeah.
accomplished. Um,
Um,
I saw this meme the other day. This is the funniest thing I've seen for quite a while, and I just wanted to share it quickly. Congratulations, you made it through 2020, 2021. Welcome to 1939. 1939 is, of course, the start of the European War in Europe, World War II. So there you go. Welcome to 1939, everyone. You got
Mm.
Nazis, you got aggression on the European continent, you get all kinds of crazy stuff going on.
I don't see it slowing down either.
Mm.
If
Mm.
anything, it's gaining traction.
It's going to get worse before it gets better. That is for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Russia, I don't know to what degree they've been incompetent in their attack on the Ukraine, but because I'm also suspicious of the media reports that
Yeah.
say that Russians have abandoned all their vehicles and
Oh, yeah, that's BS. I would say that and this isn't just me saying this. There's a bunch of other people much smarter than me saying that Putin overestimated, his chances of
mm,
getting in there and just, what Hitler said about invading Russia in 1941 is that we just have to kick the door down, and the
mm,
whole system's going to fall apart basically. And I think Putin probably had some kind of similar concept that we just have to push a bit. We just have to kick the door down, and the whole place is going to fall apart. We'll be heralded as liberators, and
mm.
it hasn't happened. Yeah, and you can
No,
tell actually. And you could tell that they kind of half-assed the assault, right? Because it came in from multiple different directions. It came in with not full force, and with they didn't really commit a lot of forces out of their otherwise kind of small. I mean, even 200,000 troops to attack a country of 44 million people. Um, if you especially if you're going to occupy it, once again, there's a lot of rhymes. It's history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. But it sounds a lot like Iraq, invading Iraq with only 185,000 with 185,000 troops and trying to occupy a country that size with that few people. It's going to be a mash, especially with all the weapons going into Ukraine from NATO, which is designed for insurgency. Those are insurgent weapons. Those are shoulder-based weapons. You use once, you can toss them. And they're specifically used for things like tanks, armored personnel carriers, air-to-surface missiles. It could be a very long and very bloody kind of conflict that the Russians can't win. I mean, I don't see how the Russian state walks out of this. Well.
I've been looking at some history. I've been reading some Wikipedia articles, and I watched a couple of documentaries. That's what I did, really. And after reviewing that small amount of material, it made me think, I'm surprised everybody hasn't just like left Ukraine alone and let them figure it out. Because this has been going on for like a very long time. They've had an on-off relationship, from my understanding, with Russia for a long time.
Yeah. Well, you know, the Russians feel like they, at least Putin feels. I can't, you know, Putin doesn't speak for all Russians, of course, but Putin feels that Ukraine has traditionally been in the Russian sphere. You know, Putin's 69 years old. He's 69, so maybe he's thinking about how am I going to leave the country, you know, when I'm dead. And you know, and we all know this is common knowledge that Putin considers the downfall, the dissolution of the Soviet Union to be one of the greatest tragedies in human history, which is insane. But only when you know that he is from the KGB does that make sense. It's like, oh, well, it makes perfect sense since he was part of what amounts to the Gestapo, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, to KGB headquarters, it said that when a spy was caught, a traitor, they would feed them into the furnace feet first.
Well,
Like,
that's probably one of the nicer things that
Mm.
the KGB did, because you know the Russians have had some kind of internal secret police out, you know, spying on its people for years. It goes back to the czars, hundreds of years. They had the Okhrana, which was the czars, the king for all intents and purposes of Russia before that, and then they had the Bolsheviks, or the communists, had the Cheka, the NKVD, and then they turned it into the KGB. And the best, you know, and this is the thing, man. You know, there's only a small. As we get older, we get to appreciate that there's only a small window of opportunity for certain things to happen, right? So the Russians might have had a small window of opportunity to get rid of the KGB altogether. They could have burned it to the ground. They could have ripped it out by the root, and they chose not to. And that was the fatal mistake. One of the many mistakes, but that was the fatal mistake when they had their flirtation with democracy, is that they did not burn it to the ground. Yeah.
Well, how are you going to stop mooses and squirrels?
How are you gonna ruin? Yes, Bruce and Squirrel. Those were great
Moose and squirrel.
cartoons. They were really smart cartoons.
Oh yeah, I actually revisited them just not too long ago, and it was, you put an S on the back of anything, squirrels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we're talking about Rocky and Bullwinkle, of course.
Yes, of course.
But
Of
those
course, and Natasha.
great cartoons.
Yes, they're excellent. There was a wonderful thing about they had a place where they created a fake state in the U.S. and it was like Transylvania or something like that. And they went to the White House to petition to create that state.
Yeah.
And the
Well,
creators
that's
of the cartoon went there. But
Right.
it happened to occur just as the hostages were taken in Iran. And so
Oh,
they
really?
weren't able to get an audience. No.
Yeah. You know, Jesse Bear. Good morning, Jesse. Jesse Bear writes, and this is shifting a bit, but this is kind of galling to me. They made masks optional for the schools here. People seem surprised. All the typical kid germs are hitting them all at once. One of them is hitting with a stomach virus. Yeah. So surprisingly, face masks, and this is sarcastic, of course. Surprisingly, face masks just don't protect you against coronavirus, but they protect you against all the other crappy things that are in schools. Because let's face it, schools are big petri dishes of crap in terms of germs, right?
Yeah.
And it just agitates me to no end that the U.S. deaths yesterday due to coronavirus was 2,346. Now it is going lower. I mean, the slope of the line, the trend is getting lower, but that's still 2,346 deaths. The 7-day average is 1,800, a little bit over 1,800. And for everyone just to say that, there's an election coming, and so we're going to just get rid of mask mandates, because that's what it boils down to, right? The Democrats are like, well, we can't be the party that's going to make parents so angry. So we're going to get rid of mask mandates. And politically speaking, that's pretty smart. But you're still having over 2,000 deaths a day. It's madness.
I've argued with two people in offline.
Yeah.
Offline with two people, adults, that masks help prevent the spread of sickness. That was my only, like, the thing that I was trying to stay on was it's not a political try to take over, or it's not some kind of it's not just COVID. That was another one of my points was, okay, you don't believe that there's a COVID sickness. Well, okay, do you think there's other sicknesses out there?
Yeah.
Flus, colds.
Yeah. And the stomach virus. Oh man, those are probably some of the worst right there.
So why do
feel for you,
doctors,
Jesse?
why do doctors wear masks if masks don't work?
They forgot to shave.
And thank you, John Hudson. And if you were getting operated on by a doctor, would you tell the whole medical team to take their masks off because that's just a sign of the Illuminati, the satanic Luciferian Illuminati? Because I'd say that they're full of BS. Because people are like, oh, they don't really stop illnesses. All right, then, when your nan goes in for that open heart surgery, tell them she doesn't want anyone with wearing masks, and play that out. See how tough you are then. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And why would medical professionals want to hide their identity? Answer that.
Yeah.
Well, I think the schools really need to have the face masks. I mean, a goddamn kid will eat a French fry off the car floor from McDonald's from 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. And Dee mentions that her youngest has a bug right now, but because masks are off at school. Yeah. And just washing hands are so important. Washing hands when it first started was such a radical proposition for a lot of doctors. They just would not believe, when hand washing became mandatory, there was a lot of resistance about that too.
Well, we're still pretty diligent about the masks and hand sanitizers when you get in the car, when you get out of the car, wipe down the shopping cart. I don't want this shit again.
Yeah, Jesse Bear writes down for years, hospitals, if you had possible flu, you had to wear a mask in the ER waiting room. Yeah, this isn't new. Wearing masks isn't new.
And everybody says the Omicron was the easy one. It made me feel the shittiest.
Dude, I mean, that once again, over 2,000 people dead yesterday from coronavirus. And so, once again, 3% of the U.S. population has an impaired immune system because of disease, organ transplants, whatever reason you want to, whatever it is, it's 3%. That's over 9 million people. That's over 9 million people at risk.
But did you hear about the vaccine that they're coming out with now that is going to protect from it mutating?
I didn't hear about that, John.
I saw something on the news the other day on that.
Is it an mRNA?
I can't remember. It was just a little quick thing from, I think it was UT that came out with it. And I mean, they've been pretty cutting edge on a lot of the technology that went into the MR, whatever the hell they are.
There are some vaccines being developed that what makes, of course, the variants so dangerous is that the spike protein mutates, right? So it becomes more transmissible that way. There is some research that targets that doesn't target the spike protein. It targets the RNA within the virus itself and changes it. So that would be, in theory, it would protect against just any coronavirus, or and it would go against all variants.
Oh, that'd be super, wouldn't it?
It wouldn't suck, dude.
If we could get the coronavirus to leave the human body and just enter a Chipotle, they would die out within seconds.
I love Chipotle. What's wrong with Chipotle?
Oh, don't you remember there were all these Chipotle restaurants that were people were getting sick from eating there and
I think it was like
listeria.
salmonella or listeria. Back,
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'd never been there, but there's that place, Chipotle's.
Yeah.
You can get a quesadilla there or fajitas, and they're pretty good.
I like your anglicization.
I love the quesadillas.
But yeah, actually, one of those Chipotle's were right in Boston, and the problem with that they had is because all of their stuff is organic, or
Mm.
and so that when you don't use pesticides, that could create
Yeah.
issues too, as well as using pesticides. And
And next time you're in a Mexican restaurant, ask them what the quesadilla is,
I will.
or the fajitas. They'll
Yeah.
look at you like, ah.
I don't think I can do that around my girlfriend. But,
Yeah. Okay.
Well, maybe you're drinking in a pub.
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah,
A friend of mine was on this date, and he said to his date, "Hey, ask the waiter about the bearded clams."
about the bearded plants.
Clams.
Oh,
And and so she asked, and the waiter claimed that they did not have.
I think you zoomed out. You're chopped up there, Big Z.
Oh, sorry. I do what I can though.
Just at the punchline too.
Well, you know what? I don't know if the joke bears retelling.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Simply Secular Dave talks about crime is pickpocketing crime down by almost 100%. No crowds, no vacation travel. Yeah.
Mm.
And Jesse Bear says tons of organic and preservative-free crap is a huge source of illness and infections. Yeah, I mean, I can see, we get, or my girlfriend gets, local organic food from, what is it? What do you call it? The
Whole Foods?
CSA. The CSA, which I thought, as soon as she told me we were getting food from the CSA, I'm like, we're getting food from the Confederate States of America? She goes, no, Andy, that's not funny.
Or maybe from the Canadian Space Agency.
That
Maybe
is funny.
But yes, I guess it's a local food collective, and so we get a bag of natural, and it is some really good stuff that we get too. That cheap, if I would not myself be putting that kind of money into food. I'm a rice and beans kind of, and mac and cheese from the box kind of guy. But yeah, she likes the nice stuff though. We get food from the CSA.
We get truckloads of free food.
Do you?
Just put the seeds in the dirt and
I thought we were going to discuss you bartering your marijuana crop for free food.
I can't grow pot.
No.
Not here.
Yeah.
But we're looking into other states where, because I'd like to leave them with a lot of money, and I could if with commercial
Although
license.
we can grow hemp down here. It is that did get passed.
Yes, but have you checked into the licensing on that?
Mm.
No, not exactly.
It's still like $20,000 to get started up on the licensing.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where I could go to Oregon and 25 would get me commercial license on grown real weed.
Right.
The fun stuff.
Where kids have looked into the Dalles and a couple different places up there. Salem, I can't remember, but they're considering going somewhere where Dad can put his talents back to work.
Mm.
Cool.
And maybe we'll start watching old episodes of Trailer Park Boys to learn a bit about the weed business.
Indeed. My Jesse Bear writes, not using preservatives in personal care products is a huge issue. Skincare products go rancid. Really?
Yeah. Some of it gets smelly, like because I like using the facial things. Do it with the daughter all the time, and some of them she did one that it just like it's like, oh, I got this one in El Paso. Well, El Paso was 2 years ago. Started to put it on. Oh, Jesus, stink! Right. It was bad. I couldn't put it on my face, and I remember when we did it down in El Paso, it was like, oh, I love it, you know. But
It tripped me out. Kendra had a whole bunch of lotions, and it was weird because we were getting ants in our room, and I was picking an ant off of me every once in a while. I'm like, why are they in here? And I would look around, and I wouldn't really find where they would be coming from. And then one day, Kendra wanted to grab one of her lotions, and she went in this spot and moved some stuff, and like the ants had moved in. They liked the lotion,
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Well, ants have trouble keeping their skin supple.
just like zebras.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh. Okay, that was really dumb.
That was good. I like that.
I love that.
Yeah, but sometimes like really stupid stuff is absolutely hilarious.
Well, I subject my girlfriend to the. I'm going to say the most stupid thing I can think of right now and see if it's funny. At least several times a day. And for some reason, she's still dating me. I don't really know.
Okay.
I love stupid comedy. Anything, you know, just shoot from the hip. It's good.
I saw Jim Gaffigan's latest Netflix special the other day with a girlfriend, and she said, "Oh, I don't really like Jim Gaffigan." It's like, give him a chance. It's like, isn't he the Catholic guy? Yeah, he's Catholic, and he's got his issues, right? But his comedy isn't that bad, and so yeah, funny stuff. He's a little bit of a perv too, from what I understand, but still, Tobin, brother, I gotta tell you, I took a look at a good portion of the video about that dude. Who is it? Jim Hall, the PhD dude? Is that his name?
Oh, Jim Majors. Jim Hall
Majors.
is cool. Jim
Hall
is cool.
I get
Jim
confused.
Jim Majors.
I saw some of that video that you posted, and it's like really disturbing stuff.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing, and just like because when it was mentioned, I'm like, evidence, show me the money, baby, yeah, and I'd have to say too, when I've caught Jim on chat, the two times I remember, he was flirting with some other people in the chat. Yeah. So it just, and I kind of thought that was different because I've never really heard that in any chat, so I did kind of make mental note of it.
Let me tell you about being me on social media for well over a decade. And it's like my goal, and in real life too, my goal is not to be the creepy old dude. That is just my goal, not to be the creepy old dude. And that's my goal.
There's more I really want to say on this. And like one is I want to give credit to Divine Disbelief, who with Nathaniel. I'm not sure if y'all really know about him, but he's pretty cool. I've been watching him for a while, but he's the one who put the report together. He has had more interactions with Jim.
Yeah,
but it's. I'm not trying to spread rumors. But I do think that we should be aware of the people who are trying to like trick us, or who are just being rude to the people that are part of this community.
Yeah.
I don't want to spread rumors, but I do think it is important to put a light on it.
You can look me up on Facebook. I am a voodoo surgeon. It says so on my Facebook.
Talking about creepy behavior, I was at an American Atheists convention. I've only been to one so far. I might go to the one. In this year. I'm not sure, but it was in Oklahoma, and I'm hanging out with a bunch of people. And I'm not going to say who it is, but a prominent atheist YouTuber's girlfriend was being creeped on by this older dude. And I'm like, shouldn't there be a safe word for that? Like, because I'm just like here drinking, trying to be happy, and I'm literally sitting on the corner at this table, and this guy is to my left, who's at the head of the table, and she is directly to my right, and I'm like, I feel uncomfortable. How is she feeling? And I'm like, yeah, this should be a safe word, like F you. That's what this is.
But then you just give her a yellow card.
Just gotta, yeah. Well, I'm going to be carrying those around.
Maybe just throw the red card instantly, no warning.
Well, the red card just goes to throw down. You got to throw it down.
It's crazy because there's places for that kind of stuff. Like if you want to like hook up with people, there are places for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There are places that if you want to find people, to find a partner, there's but there, yeah. But once again, divine disbelief. He does not mince words. He talked about Carrier. He talked about Krauss. He talked about Shermer. And once again,
you said about Michael Shermer again. I can't remember that.
Kind of a perv.
Oh, as a.
That's the thing is about Carrier too, is that it is well documented about Carrier's slap lawsuits on people he doesn't like. And good job for Divine Disbelief for speaking out about those people in the movement.
Maybe the thing to do with the people who have slap lawsuits is to instead praise them for their bad behavior.
Tell me more about this theory of yours.
Well, I didn't invent the idea or anything. It's, for example, when Judge Roy Moore, it was revealed that he had, at age 32, was dating a 16-year-old or something like that. And he was guilty of extremely naughty behavior. So some comedian showed up at his speeches saying, this man is innocent. Is that the face of a man who would molest a child? I don't think so. And
that's great.
Really loud and obnoxious, and it was hilarious.
That's great.
Could you sue him with a slap lawsuit for that? You could try.
Well, you could, these lawsuits, you can sue anyone for anything, right?
Yeah. But you could say, well, here's the recording, judge, and ask for a summary. What is it called now? Summary. Well, anyway, you just say that the evidence indicates you're a supporter.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
That's not heavy sarcasm. There's no sarcasm there.
None. And,
I'm not being sarcastic.
Also, even in court, you can say that man is not a child molester. I repeat, not. And just, well, at any rate, that's a fantasy move. I'm sure that it wouldn't work, but it's fun to think about.
Indeed.
I see the judge saying hearsay.
Oh, yeah.
Won't be allowed in my court.
I always wanted to see a scene in the movie where they try to put a parrot on the stand and the other lawyer objects because the evidence must be hearsay.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah. And I would love that. I think it would be great.
Nice. Zebras are so in touch with their animal kingdom, huh?
We do what we can,
Yeah.
We haven't heard much from Mr. Tobin today. What's going on?
Huh? Oh, don't put me on the spotlight.
No, I didn't mean that.
My
it just
goodness.
seems kind of quiet.
No, I mean, I've been saying some things. I also learned more about Ukraine. They have all these different groups. Like there's the Azov and the right sector. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right.
It's the Sea of Azov.
Azov, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're white supremacist groups.
Yes. There are, they have problems with racism just like everyone else does. And the Sea of Azov. Okay, so getting into some geography there. When you think of the Black Sea, right? The Black Sea is where the Crimea is, basically that big piece of water that goes into the Mediterranean. Well, there's the Sea of Azov, which is to the north of the Black Sea. So the Sea of Azov flows into the Black Sea. The Black Sea flows into the Mediterranean. I don't know if that helps anyone.
So what? It's used as a shipway.
They
Yes.
have a naval
Right.
base there, right?
Yeah. The Peter the Great, actually, more useless information. Peter the Great fought the one of the Khanates back in the 18th century, because Russia really didn't have a good port or a port at all to get into the Mediterranean, and so he fought one of his wars to get some Russian territory down there. So the Sea of Azov. Yeah, they have. Well, the thing is, a lot of, and when you hear pro Putin people preach their propaganda, say I just decided to throw a bunch of P words in there. They'll say, well, the Ukraine has all these fascists running around, and it's like, yeah, the Jewish president of Ukraine is really supporting Nazi death squads. Yeah, that really works. That really makes sense.
Yeah, it is very confusing. There's a lot of different organizations that are like got their hands in Ukraine.
Yeah. Well, it's in a geopolitically, it's in one of those areas that, unfortunately for them, it's just ripe for foreign interference, and that's a pleasant way of putting it. That's a pleasant way of putting it.
Hey guys, I'm sorry. I'm sort of going to fall asleep here in a minute. So
All right,
I
dude.
thought I'd say my goodbyes right now.
All right. Well, I'm going to close up the show anyway.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me on.
Sure. All right. Take care, everyone. Doing the last thing. We're doing. Oh, wow. That sounds final. We're doing the thing tomorrow, which is the last
thing.
The last thing. All right. John Hudson, Tobin Templeman, Big Z, Zeb, whoever you are. Hey, everyone in the chat. Thanks for showing up. Doing the same crazy thing tomorrow.